Welcome to Life Wisdom with Ed Langan, the place to come for practical and spiritual information to help you as you move along your path, and life wisdom from the guides. Life wisdom stands for love, inspiration, faith, and empowerment. On this spiritual talk show, we talk about everything from self-love and creating your own reality to quantum physics and what your soul wants you to know. I'm your host, Ed Langan. I am a psychic channel for the Ascended Ones. I am a life coach, a law of attraction expert, a spiritual teacher, and other than that, just a regular dude, whatever that might be. Anyway, I'm really happy that you're here. Cindy is here with us already. Hi, Cindy. How are you? We're glad you're here. In this episode, we're going to talk about spiritual principles, part 2. We talked about spiritual principles back in April. That was part 1, and there was 12 spiritual principles. We have 12 more to talk about today, so that's what we're going to do today. The first part of the show, I'm going to continue to talk about spiritual principles that are working in your lives, whether you realize it or not, and knowing what they are and how they work and how they will change how you look at your life and how they help you raise your vibration. Pauline is here. Hi, Pauline. How are you? We're happy that you're here. Hope all is well across the pond. In the second part of the show, I'm going to channel the guides to answer questions for people that have been sent in about law of attraction or all aspects of life. You can also post questions during a live chat. Marge will let you know a little bit later when to do that. Remember, the more focused and powerful the questions, the more focused and powerful the answer from the guides. And when we get to that part, we will talk about that. Thank you to everybody who is liking and sharing all of the programs from Star Nations. We really appreciate it, all of us here at Star Nations. It is a wonderful place for a wonderful resource for spiritual information, for shows, for the magazine, for workshops, for all kinds of stuff. So everybody who is liking and sharing all of our shows, we really appreciate it. And obviously a thank you from Marge and I for everybody who's liking and sharing my show also. So thank you all for that. We really appreciate it. Heartfelt thank you to all of you. The magazine is published, which I was just talking about. It was published yesterday. It's published on the 10th of every month. And this is a picture of it here. Let me see if we can get that all in the camera. There we go. There we go. There's the cover. And there's a couple of things on there that look interesting. I haven't read this month's magazine yet, but I'm looking at it. And what level comes after superhero? That's intriguing to me. I'm looking forward to reading that. Forgiveness is big medicine. That's interesting. Changing World Healing Meditation. I believe that's by my friend Maureen Mann. So I'm really excited about that and looking forward to reading this. There we go. There you can see it. And we will put that information in the comments so that you guys can find that and have a chance to read it. And Neshi is here. Hi, Neshi. How are you? Neshi is the founder of Star Nation. So we're happy that Neshi is here also. Good. Excellent. All right. While we're waiting to see who else is joining us, I just want to remind you that once a month, we do a meditation and prayer, which is for peace, love, harmony, and healing. And it's 10 minutes. It's from 7 p.m. Eastern Time to 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time, and we ask everybody who can join in to please join in with us. This meditation, the next one is going to be Monday, June 22nd, and something that you may not be aware of, time is actually not linear. As we're moving into the fourth density, time is not linear, so if you can meditate the day before or the day of or even the day after and hold the intention to have your energy join our energy so that you're sending that out powerful as part of our meditation, that will also work. So if you can join us, that would be great. And the information is there. Marge has it on the screen. Marge is flying the plane as per usual, and she is doing a great job. And I see Margaret is with us. Margaret, how are you? Glad you're here. And Cindy is writing, everyone everyone needs to go to one of Ed's meetings with the guides. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. That is a workshop that we have been doing at Dragonflies and Amber that has been very, very good and very successful. And we're going to continue to do that and potentially start doing it at more places. So thank you, Cindy. We appreciate that. Thank you. Good. Now, this show comes with a caveat. And if you remember back from the April show when we did the first 12 spiritual principles, I said that you may get triggered by some of these principles. Well, the same is true now. You may get triggered by some of these principles, but do the best you can to keep an open mind and just see what goes from there. All right? I found a wonderful quote by Dale Carnegie about that, and it says, "Keep your mind open to change all the time. Welcome it, court it. It is only by examining and re-examining your opinions and your ideas that you can progress." I like that. That's a really good quote. Be open to new thoughts and new ideas. Now, before we get started, we're going to review the spiritual principles from the first show, and I have them here, and I will post them in the comments. I will post the April ones, the first group and the second group, so that if you guys are interested in printing that, you'll have that information available. So the first one's Principles 1 from Spiritual Principles, Part 1. Slow down, Ed. Thank you. All right. So number 1, you live what you believe about everything, period. Number 2, you create your own reality, whether you know it or not. Number 3, you are manifesting 100% of the time. Everything is a manifestation. Number 4, you cannot create in someone else's reality. Number 5, to move forward, you have to let go of the past. Number 6, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? Number 7, everything is neutral. Number 8, do not take anything personally. That can be challenging for a lot of people. Number 9, you cannot teach someone who is not asking. Good. Number 10, the universe always says yes. You're the one who says no. Number 11, your true self is in your heart. Number 12, love is what we are. Perfect. So those will be in the comments. If you want to see more of a discussion about any of those, you can watch back the April show, April from this year, which is archived on the Star Nation's YouTube page. So you can check it out there. You just go into YouTube and type in Life Wisdom with Ed Langan, and it'll come right up. And it was from April this year. Perfect. Good. All right. So we're going to start off with Spiritual Principles Part 2. So we're going to start off with number 13. Number 13 is you are on your path and you cannot get off of it. You are on your path and you cannot get off of it. Occasionally people come up to me and say, Ed, something's wrong. I'm not on my path. And we smile and say, that's impossible because you're creating your path as you go and there's no chance that you can't be on your path. And they say, no, it can't be on my path because I wouldn't create this. Well, sometimes your path is a wonderful walk on the beach. And sometimes your path is through a beautiful field. Sometimes your path is on a nice road or on a nice sidewalk. Sometimes your path is through briar patches. And sometimes your path is up a sheer cliff face. But it's all your path and it's all part of where you are, and it's impossible for you not to be on your path. It can't be. You're creating your path as you go. Well, they say, well, if that's the case, I certainly wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't want to do this. And that leads us to number 14. Number 14 is you attract situations that help you awaken. You attract situations that help you awaken. We are raising our vibration. We are, as a consciousness, ascending. We're moving up into higher frequencies and higher vibrations. And to do that, we have to go through some stuff. We have to, one of the spiritual principles from the last time was to move forward. You have to let go of the past. So that's part of it. So as we're moving forward on our path, the things that we attract awaken us. When something gets triggered within us, that's something that's asking to be healed and to be released and to be looked at. That's a part of ourselves that we've taken and hidden in our pockets, that we've broken off and hidden, and we don't want to look at and we don't want to deal with because it's painful or emotional or uncomfortable or all of the above. When we get triggered, it's not the trigger. It's not the event. It's what the event reminds us of. So if Marge and I have a little spat, it's about what Marjorie said that reminded me of when I was 5 years old and my parents said something to me. That's what it's really about. And if I'm blaming Marjorie for what she just said right now, I'm missing the whole point. I'm missing the trigger. Now, it's not always the easiest to do with that right in the moment when you're getting triggered. If you can, good for you. Sometimes you have to let the moment pass and then go back and look at it. But it's not, it's what the trigger means for you. It's what's underneath the trigger that's asking to be healed. Now, here's another part of this, and maybe you've heard this before. Have you heard that life is an onion and we're peeling back the layers and peeling back the layers and peeling back the layers? Your path is actually a spiral. And it's a spiral that's getting bigger as you're moving, and it's going further and further out. And the onion is the layers. Now, if you have worked through something and then all of a sudden it comes back up again and it's on your path again, you're dealing with it now in a different energy, in a higher place than where you were, in a different place than where you were before, and you're getting to a deeper layer. Have you heard the expression that you can never step into the same river twice because energy's flowing? Well, you're a flowing river of energy also. So you never step into the same place twice. So when you come to something that you've been working on your path, it's at a deeper level. And you may get it again at a deeper level, and eventually you'll clear it all the way. And that's about being triggered. So when we're on our path, and when we're attracting things that awaken us, if we could pick how we go, we would go like this. We would just go straight like this, and that in our mind is the clearest and the best way to go. We would not pick, there we go, we would not pick this here. We would not go into that. And sometimes our inner being lands us right in the middle of that, because that really is the fastest way for us to go. That's the fastest way for us to release some triggers, to release things that are bothering us, to heal, to shift. But if we had our choice, we wouldn't go that way. And that's when people get confused and say, wait a minute, I'm off my path. I would have never picked this. Part of you picked it. The larger part of you picked it. Your soul picked it. Perfect. Good. Sandy is here. Hi, Sandy. How are you? Cindy is writing, my path is actually a briar patch. I hope that gets better soon, but I hope from what we just said here, you're starting to understand that that's a huge opportunity to shift and grow and change your energy. Maureen Mann is here. Hi, Maureen. How are you? Maureen has a wonderful show on Star Nation's Angel Therapy, and I believe it is also tonight at 8 p.m. So you have an opportunity to see that tonight with Maureen. A great show. And Maureen is a wonderful teacher. So perfect. Excellent. Julie is here. Hi, Julie. How are you? And she's already put in that the next meeting with the guides is Friday, July 10th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. So anybody else who's interested in checking that out, thank you, Julie. I appreciate that. Good. Number 15. Contrast is good and vital to our growth. Contrast is difference. It's choices. It's the stuff that life is made of. And if we could, we would get rid of it. Because we look at contrast as challenges. We look at contrast as things that bring up our stuff. We look at contrast as things that we don't really like. And we would get rid of them if we could. Now, I want you to think about something for a minute. If you go to a buffet and there's all this wonderful food there, would you go, I don't like chicken, so get rid of the chicken because I don't want that to jump on my plate. Or I don't like mushrooms, so you need to get rid of the mushrooms because I don't want that to jump on my plate. I don't like broccoli, so don't put, and start removing stuff from the buffet? Of course not. You're just going to take your plate and you're just going to go and pick the things that you like, and you're going to ignore the things that you don't like. The same is true with contrast. My father used to say, if everybody liked the same things, life would be boring. Well, not only would it be boring, but life would stop because we would no longer have choice. Our good quote about contrast is this: one man's garbage is someone else's treasure. The parts that we don't like are the parts about getting triggered, which I was just talking about in the first two spiritual principles that we talked about. If we remove the contrast, there's no motion forward, there's no growth, there's no learning. I used to think that the purpose of life was to make it as smooth as glass, everything fine, no bumps, no bruises, no surprises, no nothing. Think about a heartbeat, right? It goes up and down, it goes above and below the line. And if you have a flat, perfectly smooth line, you got a problem. We didn't learn from everything being wonderful and everything being smooth. We learned from the bumps and the bruises. And if we eliminate those, we eliminate the growth, we eliminate the learning, we eliminate the motion forward. So contrast is just a variety, and we get to choose what parts of that we like and what parts of it we don't like. So good, excellent. Mara is here. Hi, Mara, how are you? Good. I see lots of notes, lots of people saying hello. We see you. It's really small, so it's hard for us to read, but we're happy you're all here. Thank you. Good. Number 16. This is not a test, and the universe does not challenge you unless you believe it does. We have been taught that this is a test. Some of us, depending on how we were brought up, that this is a test and that the universe is going to challenge us. And this falls into place with the other principles that I've been talking about the contrast and believing that these things are a test and that we have to prove that we're worthy. Well, when we're trying to prove that we're worthy to something outside of us, we're giving our power away. You are worthy. If you watch any of my videos, you know the last thing the guides say to you is the guides want you to know that you're worthy. You are worthy. This is not a test. This is not a challenge. The universe is not challenging you, is not testing you, unless you believe it is, because you create your own reality. You are worthy. You don't have to prove worthiness to anyone or anything. We look at this because we've been taught conditional love, because humans tend to be conditional in their love. If you behave a certain way, I love you. And if you behave another way, I don't love you. And it's as simple as that. And when we apply that to source energy, to creator, to God, if you will, whatever you want to call it, then we have to start to prove that we're good enough. Then we have to start proving that we're worthy. Then we have to prove that we're worthy of love. And none of that is true. Now, we're not going to be tested. There is going to be contrast. There are going to be things that we don't necessarily want to go through, but that's for our growth. And that's what we've been talking about in all the previous principles that we've been talking about. But this is not a test. We're here to grow, to learn, to evolve, not because if we pass, we're going to go to heaven. That's just, it's not true. It's not the case. And some people may get triggered by that, and that's a good thing. Excellent. Excellent. Mara is saying this is awesome. Thank you, Mara. I appreciate that. Good. All right. Number 17. There is no separation. Separation is an illusion. You are still within God, source, creative energy, original creative energy, whatever term that you use for that, you're still within that. Nothing is separate from source. Nothing. You are the ocean and a drop in the ocean all at the same time. You hear people say that we're all one. Well, we are. We're all a collective. We're a collective of energy. And we're all the same consciousness because we're all within the ocean. There is no separation. We are a collective. Think about that for a second. You're a drop in the ocean and the ocean at the same time. Your body is a collective of 27 trillion souls. Do you think one of your skin cells is like, oh, I'm not part of that? No, I'm my own individual? Of course not. Do you think one of your bone cells or one of your heart cells or one of your stomach cells is saying anything like that? No, we're all part of the collective. Now, your cells all have their own consciousness and they all have their own intelligence to them. They have their own consciousness because your body heals itself. If you cut your finger, you don't have to tell your finger how to heal. It heals itself. It knows how to do that. So your body has the intelligence, even though it's a collective. And we are a collective. We are a drop in the ocean and the ocean at the same time, and we are not separate from source. Nothing is separate from source. Perfect. Ellen is here. Hi, Ellen. How are you? Pauline is saying, wow, thank you. Excellent. Number 18. Everything is in balance in our universe, the yin and the yang. This is the symbol, there we go, that you're all familiar with. You've all seen that before. And this is a symbol that represents our universe. And it's a great symbol because it reminds us that everything is in balance. Now, source energy, the creative energy in the beautiful ocean, wanted to get to know itself in a more personal way. And to do that, it had to create polarity. So the first step in becoming physical was to create polarity. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you think about a battery, and I happen to have one right here. If you think about a battery, it has a positive and a negative side. And without the positive and negative side, there's no motion, there's no energy, there's no motion. Now, the positive side isn't going, I'm better because I'm the positive side, and the negative side isn't going, no, you're not, I'm negative. It's simply part of our universe. There is polarization. There is both sides. There's positive and negative. Science class, you ready? You remember what a water molecule is? H2O. So you have oxygen and two hydrogens. Now, the interesting thing about this is the oxygen molecule has a negative charge to it. And the hydrogen molecules have positive charges to them, and that's how they attract each other. And once you have a drop of water, a water molecule, you also now have a polarized molecule. It has a positive side on top and a negative side on the bottom. And it's simply part of the balance of our universe. Some of us, and I've been in part of that, have misunderstood this. Being a light worker, we think our job is to vanquish the dark side, to get rid of evil, to get rid of negative, to get rid of all of that. And basically what you're doing is you're getting rid of a part of yourself. Now, that doesn't mean that we allow that side to flow. There are plenty of people who do, but we still choose and decide where we put our focus, how we're allowing our energy to flow, if we're leaning more towards positive or if we're leaning more towards negative. But the idea of vanquishing one over the other doesn't work. It's never worked. That was what happened to Atlantis and Lemuria. That's what's been going on and been playing out in our world for eons. And we're reaching the point where we're beginning to understand that it just doesn't work. You can't eliminate one side or the other. You have to realize with the healing that you are part of both, and both are within you. And whichever you focus on will be the more dominant part, if you will, but we can't eliminate both. Perfect. Good. Everything is in balance. Now, we do want to talk more about the polarized energy because that's a really important thing which is going on in our world right now. So we want to talk about that, and we want to talk about the balance. And your brain is a polarized organ. It has two hemispheres. Your heart is not polarized. Now, the interesting thing is science has found that your heart has brain cells, has neuron cells in it, and that your heart has the ability to think separately from your brain. So your heart doesn't have to agree with your brain. As we're moving up into the fourth dimension, the fourth density, we're moving into a place where there's really, really strong polarized energy for us to see this so that we can understand it and move past it and stop making one side right and one side wrong and then fighting against it. The fourth dimension is equal to our heart chakra, which means it's time for us to get into our hearts. The polarized energy just doesn't work. If we're picking a side and making the other side wrong, we're giving our power away to the other side, and neither is moving forward. And that's what's been going on for eons on our planet. That there has been this fight against the good and the bad, or the evil and the whatever you want to call it, the light and the dark, whatever. And it just doesn't work. It's time to raise up and be in our hearts. And it's time to understand and not join the polarized energy. Excellent. Good. Good. I'm just trying to read the comments here. Excellent. Good. Thank you for everybody who's commenting. Perfect. Good. All right. Number 19. What is the ego? That's a really good question. I'm glad you asked. The ego is, so we're going to start here. Your source energy is this wonderful ocean of energy. And then to begin to manifest physically, there's polarized energy. There's positive and negative. So now there's motion. And then the next thing that happens is the ego is created. The ego is simply this. The ego is the anchor that keeps us in our bodies. And that is what the ego was always intended to be. However, things got a little wonky, and the ego sort of became a personality. The ego started thinking about things and making up stories. And when the ego started making up stories, its main function was to keep us in the physical body, but that was where separation started, because then the ego thought that it was God and God had abandoned us and that we were forgotten and we needed all this other stuff. And that's where that started. So the ego was simply the next step in becoming physical. And for us to be physical, what we're doing is we're finding our way back to where we are, remembering who we are. And as we do that, the ego is melting away. But the ego is the anchor that keeps us in our physical bodies. It's not the personality, although it appears to have a personality. The thing that most people sort of connect with the ego and think the ego is something that's referred to as the critic. And the critic is the voice that's talking to you and not talking to you about good things, usually beating you up and saying other things. That is sort of our world's understanding of the ego, but the ego itself is actually just the mechanism that keeps you in your body. It's the anchor that keeps you in your body. That was the original intention of the ego. Good. Mara's saying, I feel more grounded, still need to stay ground. I saw a profound message, pink heart. So I know it was to hand over your desires to the universe. Okay, cool. Excellent. Good. Thank you for everybody who's commenting. Appreciate it. Feeling much better. Excellent. Mara's feeling better. Great. Number 20. Cynthia, thank you for reading my mind. You're welcome. The guides do that all the time. You have free will. Now, this one should be a no-brainer and it should be obvious, but sometimes we forget that. We forget that we have free will. Back on the one where we said, look back to it, that this is not a test, number 16. Sometimes we forget that we have free will. And Pauline is writing, great show, really interesting. Thank you, Pauline. I appreciate that. We think we want somebody to tell us what to do, and we don't. But we think that it would be easier, and we think that that would be helpful to us. Marge and I, over the years, went to see Esther Hicks channel Abraham many, many times. And I have spoken to Abraham many times, and Abraham also speaks through me, as most of you know. And I would at times get really annoyed that Abraham wouldn't just tell me what to do. And as I've moved forward on my spiritual path, I understand that I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to do it. I wanted to be, and that's part of my free will. When I was raised as a child, I was told what to do all the time. And when you're told what to do all the time, eventually that creates resentment. You don't want to be told what to do. You want to figure it out yourself. As you remember that you're worthy, and as you remember your power and empowerment, you realize you can figure this out. You've got this. I understand. I have guides. I have help. I can figure this out. So you have free will. You have the ability to choose and decide in every moment what you want, and you really don't want somebody else telling you what to do. For those of you who've been watching us for a while, and you know at the end we're going to channel the guides will never take away your free will. They're never going to tell you what to do. They might suggest and say, if I was in your physical shoes, I might do something like this, but they're not going to tell you. They're going to let you decide, because they're not going to take away your power. Our world right now is so much about giving our power away. And as we're raising as a consciousness, and as we're moving up into higher vibrations, we're understanding and we're taking our power back. Some of you have heard me tell this story before. I'm going to tell it again. One of my favorite quotes is by Eleanor Roosevelt, which is, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. which means no one can insult you without your permission. No one can do anything to you without your permission. So this is about taking your power back, remembering that you have free will, remembering that you have the ability to choose and decide whatever you want, and to keep your power. Giving your power away and having someone else always tell you what to do only leads to resentment. And it's not really what you want, because when you figure it out for yourself, that's when you really learn and grow. Perfect. Excellent. Good. Good. This is a very thought-provoking show that we're having here today. I'm glad everybody is enjoying it, and hopefully you're not getting too triggered by it. Number 21. This is a tough one. When you judge, you are judging yourself. When you judge, you're judging yourself. When you get triggered, that's usually when we start judging. And that's when we usually start blaming other people. But if it wasn't part of you, and if it wasn't something that was asking to be healed, it wouldn't matter to you. You wouldn't be judging it. You wouldn't be causing the judgment. You wouldn't be pronouncing this is this and that's that. So it's still about you. It's still something asking to be healed. As I said earlier, it's not the trigger, it's what the trigger means to you. It's what it brings up inside of you. And when you're judging other people, that means you're judging yourself. And that leads us to number 22. Everything is a reflection of you. So the reason why you're judging it, the reason why you're judging somebody else is because it's within you and you're seeing it within them. So you're actually seeing it within yourself. And that's why you're judging. And you're making yourself wrong, or you're making them wrong, or you're making both people wrong. So everything is a reflection of you. Jenny is writing, love this. Anything I do, you do to yourself. Yes, exactly. Everything is a reflection of you. Now, some of you have heard us talk about this. Your world is a mirror. And everything that you see out there is a reflection of you. You're putting the image in the mirror. A lot of people are looking at the mirror, looking at what they see in the mirror, the reflection in the mirror, reacting to that, and then trying to change the reflection from the reflection. And you can't do that because everything is being reflected from you, being reflected out. So what you're seeing in the mirror is inside of you. And the only way to change that is to change your vibration, is to change you. So allow yourself to be triggered, allow yourself to understand that. And as we said, in the moment of it happening, that doesn't mean that you right then and there, maybe some of you do have the ability to shift it and change it. Maybe you need to retreat and look inside and maybe do some meditation and focus and then work on shifting it, because it's not in the heat of the moment. That's not always the easiest time to try to take care of something. But some of you have also heard us say that there's only two things that you can control: what you think and how you react. And with practice, you can not react to what you're seeing in the mirror, depending on how big of a contrast it is. But it's all a reflection of you. And that's really, really good news, because if it wasn't a reflection of you, then you would have no ability to change or shift and grow. The fact that it is a reflection of you and you're the one that's putting it in the mirror, that's huge, because then you have the ability to change, because the only thing that can change is you. Perfect. Good. Excellent. Number 23. Your work is to remember your divinity. People ask us all the time, what is my work? What am I supposed to be doing here? Well, the last two, we're going to talk about what your work is and what your purpose is. And number 23, your work is to remember your divinity. Now, at our workshops, I ask this question. I ask people, where is God, or where is source energy, or where is creative energy? Point to God. And being a smart aleck, I go like this. And most people are not fooled by that, and they point right at their heart. God is within inside of us. Source is within us. All of that is within us. The Buddha said that God is hidden in the hearts of all men. The Christ said the kingdom is within, which means that you are a spark of God, which gets back to what we were talking about. You are the ocean and a drop of the ocean at the same time. So it's all within you. So your work is to remember who you are, to remember that you are a spark of the source. You're a spark of creative energy. You're a spark of God. That's your work here, is to remember your divinity. Do any of you guys do yoga? And they say, Namaste? Do you know what Namaste means? I have had people say to me, it means hello and goodbye. Well, you can use it that way, but that's not what it means. Namaste means the spirit in me salutes the spirit in you, or the God in me salutes the God in you. Ellen is asking a wonderful question. Why do we forget our divinity? Because it's part of our spiritual path. It's what we came here to learn. Remember, I said the first part is we're in the ocean. Then the second part creates the polarity. Then the third part was the ego, which then puts us into a physical body so that we can experience the physical body. We came here to learn who we are through the guise of separation, through the understanding that we're in our own bodies, but we're all connected. And as we're moving forward, that's what we're remembering. And as we're moving back to the ocean, to get back to the ocean, we're remembering our divinity. So that's our work. That's our purpose. We forgot by choice, because that's why we came here, to understand who we really are, to understand that we're creators, to understand that our thoughts create, and to move back to the ocean. So we actually forgot on purpose. That's part of it. That's why you don't remember your previous lifetimes. Each time we come in, we have amnesia. We still have the knowledge that we learned from those previous lifetimes, because when we're born, we're not these tiny little babies. We're full-grown spirits in these tiny little bodies, and we still have all of the wisdom that we have accumulated in previous lives as we're moving back to the ocean. Perfect. Good. Number 24, which is the last one for today. Your purpose is joy. Let me say that again. Your purpose is joy. Now, this gets confusing for people because they think that their purpose is to do something, or their purpose is to be more spiritual, or their purpose is to do this, that, or the other thing. And part of that is why you came here, to experience that, to learn and to grow from that, but that is not your purpose. Your purpose is joy. Do you understand what joy is? Joy is connection. It's alignment. When you're in the emotion of joy, which is anything that feels loving and feels good to you, you're in alignment with your soul, you're in harmony with your soul, and you're in alignment. And everything that you're asking for and everything that you're wanting is easily flowing through you, because that's when you're powerful. When you're connected and in alignment, that's when you're your full self. That's when you're in harmony with your soul. So when you're in joy, you're connected. So your purpose is to be in joy as much as you can, so that you're enlightened, you're connected, so this is one of our favorite words. What does the word inspired mean? Well, inspired is actually two words. It's in spirit. So when you're inspired, you're in spirit. So when you're in joy, you're in alignment, you're in spirit. So that's your purpose. Now, I want you to think about babies. They're these wonderful little beings that eat, sleep, and poop. They can't talk, they have no teeth, they have no hair, they can't walk, and yet they're the happiest little buggers on the planet. You do silly things and make silly noises and they laugh. You tear a piece of paper and they laugh. They think everything is funny. We refer to them as a bundle of joy. Now, when you're born, you're still more spirit than human because the spirit part hasn't been taught out of you yet to teach you how to be socialized and how to be human. So you're still more spirit. You're still more joy. You're still more in the energy of joy and connected. You're still that little baby. That joy is still within you. There was a post I saw on Facebook that says, a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old laughs approximately 600 times a day, where a full-grown adult laughs maybe 100 times a day. So we lose joy as we become human, as we become more serious, as we become adults. So I'm not kidding when I'm saying your purpose is joy. Your purpose is to remember the fun. Your purpose is to remember who you are, because when you're in joy, you're in alignment, you're connected, you're in alignment with your soul, and you're allowing your energy to flow. So your purpose is joy. Excellent. Good. Those were the 24. So the next 12 spiritual principles, part 2. Lots of really good information there. Marge is posting. Feel free to type in a question if you want to talk to the guides. I'm going to bring in the guides in just a minute or two. And remember, the principles are guidelines to help you grow, to help you learn, to help you understand. To understand that they are working in your life whether you realize it or not, and they're there to help you. They're there to help you move forward and to help you remember who you are, to move back into joy, to connect with who you really are, to know that you're worthy. We will post them in the comments, part 1 and part 2, so that you have them. And we'll go from there. I'm going to read a couple of the comments. Margaret is saying, I have just applied for a position for food safety, health, environment. I have a feeling this is my next position, but I'm not been called yet for an interview. What do the guides think? Okay, we'll answer that in a second. All right, good. Now she is writing, this is helpful. This information is so good, helpful, insightful. Thank you. All right. So give me a second. Let me pull in the guides here, and we will answer some questions for you. And Marge will put the questions on the screen, and we'll go from there. Okay, good. Cindy is asking, Marge, I have a question. How do tarot cards work? You pick a card and the guides work through you. So that's a great question, Cindy, and thank you. A lot of people use different cards, use tarot cards, use oracle cards. At times I do too. On this particular show, I do not. And what it is when you choose the card, you're choosing something that's showing where your energy is, and where your energy is then causes a jumping off point. So it's the tarot card is almost the question for people who aren't asking the question, and it's seeing how and where your energy is flowing, and it's designed to help. Now, the tarot is a really ancient archetype, so there's lots of meanings to the cards, and depending on who is reading them for you, they're going to interpret them each in their own way, and you can certainly interpret them yourself. But a tarot card is essentially another way of asking a question, and it's showing you where your energy is and where you're vibrating. So it's simply a tool. You can use it if you like to, and if you don't have to, but it's effective. I know Maureen pulls cards on her show. I know Neshi does card pulls. I know Polly Joe does card pulls, and it's simply a way of finding where your energy is and a way to connect and explain from there. So that's what the cards are. Excellent. Thank you for your question. Appreciate it. Margaret, I've applied for a position for food safety and health environment. I felt this is my next position, but I have not been called for an interview yet. What do the guides think? Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. It's a great question, and we have talked about this before. And let me just read in here a little bit and see what I can feel for you. We feel that it's sort of 50-50. It's on the fence that you are flowing some of your energy to it, and there is a possibility that this may be the next thing. So what we're feeling is it's not quite in alignment yet. That everything, a couple of the first dominoes have fallen, but not all the dominoes are in line yet. So there's still a little bit of place holding. There's still a little bit of it's not quite lined up, and we feel that it's not necessarily lined up on your side and not necessarily lined up on their side. So what we would do if we were you, Margaret, is we would focus on principle number 24, which is to be in joy. Do as much things as you can to put you in joy, to put you in connection, which aligns you with your soul, which allows all your energy to flow, which makes you powerful. So the next real thing that's going to happen will come into place for you. Now, the thing that we want you to be aware of and be careful about is, and we've talked about this before, have you ever gone on a long trip with kids? You may be going for 5 hours and they're in the car with you, and after 20 minutes they're going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Resist the temptation to start taking score. Resist the temptation to start saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Trust that when you're feeling good, when you're feeling joyful, the energy is flowing and everything is working out right as it's supposed to be, and you are right on track on your path when you're doing that. So excellent. Thank you. Wonderful question. Good. Susan has a question. So many areas in my life are upside down right now. What should I be focusing on right now? And the answer for you is the same thing that we just said to Margaret. You should be focusing on principle number 24. You should be focusing on joy. Joy is the fastest way, the quickest way to allow all the things that you want into your experience. When you're in joy, you're in alignment, you're allowing your energy to flow, there's no resistance, and everything that you want is coming to you. Okay? The thing, when you're in joy and you allow things to flow, everything changes a little bit. And then from your new perspective, we would refocus and look again and see what information is coming to you about the different areas in your life that are not going exactly the way you want them to be, which is contrast, which is causing you to ask, which is causing you to move forward along your path. So that's all a good thing. And we would, as we're in joy, new information, new opportunities, new things are coming to you, and you will easily begin to know which way to move forward to. We would try not to focus on everything at once. We would focus a little bit on each of them and decide which is the most important thing to you. Put some focus on that so you ask stronger and then get yourself into joy. Perfect. Thank you. Wonderful question. Thank you. Pauline, I would like to ask the guides why I keep thinking of my past so much lately. That is a wonderful question, Pauline. Thank you for asking. What is happening is we are moving into the fourth density as a species, as a planet, and we're moving up into the fourth and into the fifth density. And to move into the fourth density, you remember the spiritual principles that you have to let go of the past to move forward. Everybody's stuff is coming up, and everybody's stuff is in the past. We sort of leave a little bit of ourselves behind. We break a part off of us and we put it in our pocket, but that part of us is actually in the past. When we were talking earlier about being triggered, it's not the trigger now, it's what the trigger means to us, which is in the past. So as we're moving forward, as we're doing our spiritual work, and good for you for doing your spiritual work, that's why the past is coming up. It's asking to be looked at. It's asking to be released. It's asking to be healed. It's asking for forgiveness. It's asking for things to let go. Okay. We don't know if you're familiar with the Ho'oponopono. We're going to tell you what that is, and that's really helpful for releasing things and releasing the past. If you're not familiar with it, it is 4 statements, and it is, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And you repeat that over and over to yourself, about the thing in the past that you want to release and forgive and let go of. We will make sure that Ed and Marge get that in the notes for you so that you have that information, and that will help you with that. But the reason why your past is coming up is because you're moving up and you're releasing that energy. And as we continue to move up, there's more releasing of the past stuff. It all has to come up. It all has to clear. And that's what we're seeing in our world out there. We're seeing sort of the negative stuff that's been hidden coming up and coming to light because it's asking to be healed. Well, your past is coming up and coming to light because it's asking to be healed. So wonderful question. Thank you very much, Pauline. Maureen is here. I would love to know what the guides would like me to know right now, and any advice that they have. Okay, good. Maureen, you have a beautiful, loving, wonderful heart, and you are such a loving, kind spirit, and you are always ready and willing to help everybody else, and you're always open, and you're always there, loving, helping, supporting. You have your show tonight where you're going to be helping lots of people. And what the guides would like you to do is shine that love that you shine on everybody else onto yourself. You are an amazing, wonderful spirit. You are such love, such light, such joy. And we would like you to see that more for yourself. And we would like you to experience that more for yourself. And we would like you to know that. There is so much love that radiates from you. There's also equal and more love that radiates to you, which you're not necessarily seeing or feeling or realizing it. And we want you to understand that and feel that love and allow that more. Allow your heart to open, allow yourself to feel that love and to be loved. We love you. There is great love for you, and we would like you to feel that more and to know that more. As far as practical, again, the message has been the same for everybody, is to be more in joy, have some more fun, be more in joy. It doesn't matter what's going on out there in the world. You still have the ability to choose to be in joy or not. So we would like you to be more in joy. Thank you, Maureen. Wonderful question. Thank you. Good. And I don't know if we have any more. Oh, yes, we do. Ellen is there. Did you see my question earlier? With COVID, I am so lonely. Is loneliness my path or a lesson? Just doesn't seem to be. I am meant to be partnered again. Okay, so wonderful question. Thank you. It's a very personal question, and we appreciate your bravery to put that out there. And everything is a mirror, and everything is being reflected back to you. You are the one that wants to love more. You're the one that wants to put the love out there. So the love has to come from within out there. You can certainly have another partner. And yes, you can have a relationship if you want. The loneliness is asking for healing. It's asking to be relieved. It's part of you that's still holding you in the past. You can have another partner. You can be as loving as you want. You can experience all of that. The COVID stuff is going to be over sooner or later. It's still a matter of you focusing and you choosing. The answer is to love yourself more, to be kinder to yourself more, and to allow your heart to open. We know that with the passing of your husband, your heart closed and you don't ever want to feel that pain again. And that is some of what's asking to be healed. Now, we're not saying that's easy. That's challenging. That's something that can be very challenging to heal and to release and let go. But that's still part of the energy. Remember, we said when you get triggered, it's in the past. So your heart being closed is in the past, and you're really protecting yourself and really being careful about that. So we would like you to love yourself more, to be more within your heart, to be more in joy. The universe hears you asking for companionship. The universe hears what you're asking. We would like you to be more in joy and focus on being in joy, and that will be answered. But you're going to have opportunities where you're going to have to open your heart back up. That is part of your path. And releasing that pain, releasing that fear is where what you're feeling right now. This goes back to the question that Pauline was asking, is why is this stuff coming up from the past? It's asking to be healed. Well, this is the same thing for you. It's asking to be healed. You are very much loved. You are supported by the universe. Your guides are with you. Your angels are with you. You are safe to do this work. If you choose to find someone to help you, whether it's Maureen or Polly Joe or Neshi or whoever it might be, there's plenty of people and plenty of opportunities to help you with that work if you choose to do it. You are loved and supported and protected, and you are safe to do that work. So thank you. Wonderful question. Cynthia, Eckhart Tolle speaks about position purpose called a frequency holder. That has resonated with me. Would the guides agree? We're not sure exactly what you mean, but we think we understand what you mean. So we're gonna say that yes, when you're doing a job, you're a match to that frequency, or when you're doing work, you're a match to that frequency. And as you continue to do that, that becomes very comfortable to you. And that's the frequency that you go to most often. That's the frequency that you connect with the most. And that becomes your space holder, your placeholder. And at times there's sort of a feeling of inertia, and that there's sort of hard to push through and to lift off of something. And that's simply because you've gotten really used to being in that vibration. That's why most people say, this is where I am, I'm stuck, and it doesn't seem to change. Well, the reason why it doesn't seem to change is you're really used to that vibration. A part of you really likes that vibration, and that sort of holds where you are. But you still have control over that. You still have free will over that. It's a matter of focusing your energy and shifting your energy. And we know from you coming to our workshops, you know how to do that. So that's a really interesting and good question. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. Erin, hi, Erin, how are you? And in the guides, I have been going back and forth with feeling aligned and joyful and trusting, but then fall out and it's hard to get back. Suggestions on how to prevent this and how to get myself out of it when it happens faster. Okay, wonderful. The problem, and we don't necessarily want to focus it as a problem, the challenge there for you is you get angry when you perceive to fall out of alignment, and you really, really want to be in alignment, and you feel that you're not in alignment, and then you get mad at yourself for not being in alignment, and you start to spin and you start to go in a circle. So what we would do is, remember earlier when we were talking about contrast is part of it. And there are days when Ed is really, really good at this, and there are days when he's not really good at it, and that's okay. Don't make yourself wrong. Don't beat yourself up for it. Don't go, I need to get back, because then that makes it even harder to get back, because that puts you deeper into the vibration of it not being there, and you're trying harder to get back. Now, you know from when we've talked to you about law of attraction that one of the things you can't do with law of attraction is try. because if you're trying, you don't have the vibration that you're looking for. You're not in alignment. So we want you to relax. We want you to not make yourself bad or wrong for slipping into a different vibration. When you're in the other vibration, when you're in the shall we say, negative, you're in the asking. And asking is part of this. You didn't come here to always be in alignment. It's the yin and yang of the universe that we showed you. It's the balance. It's sometimes asking, sometimes allowing. Don't make yourself wrong for being in the asking. And that will help you get back to the allowing much quicker. We would develop a bunch of techniques to help you move there faster. So maybe a playlist of your favorite songs, maybe going dancing, maybe meditating, maybe taking a nap, maybe playing with a pet, maybe going for a walk on the beach, maybe focusing on your favorite memories, maybe watching something that's funny on the internet. Any of those things, start to develop things that you have in your pocket that you can grab that help you more easily transition back. But the biggest thing is, don't make yourself wrong for asking and for being out of alignment. That is part of it. That is trying to get rid of the darkness, and it can't be done. So accept that and allow that to be. Excellent. Thank you. Good. I think we're all set. I think we're past time here. There was some absolutely wonderful questions. Thank you for everybody with your questions. My website is up there if you're looking to get in contact with me and find out where our latest workshops are. We are still only doing workshops on Zoom. We're not doing any live ones just yet. I think that's about it. I'm sure Marjorie put my email up there too so that you can find that. So I want to thank Marge for doing a wonderful job flying the plane. She did an amazing job today. Thank you very much. I want to thank Neshi and everybody at Star Nations. I want to thank all of you for participating, for watching, for liking and sharing, for sending in questions. Remember, you can also send in questions ahead of time. I think that's about it. We love you. We appreciate you. You know what I'm going to say now. The guides want you to know that you're worthy. See you next month, guys. Light and love. Thank you.